Good evening, this is BelGeode and we are back with some, well, I can't really say Microsoft anymore. This is DoveTail Games Flight School. This is essentially aimed at newcomers to flight simming, so be advised, this is not aimed to my regular audience that normally watches me play Flight Simulator or DCS. This is for brand new people that are getting into flight simming. So I'm going to give a first look and talk a little bit about my impressions of it. I'm sure you've seen other videos online, but you've never quite seen them the way I do it. So let's hop right in there. First things first, I'm going to skip over most of the stuff that they do have in here, and I'm going to go to the hangar because I think this is probably one of the sweetest little things here. Granted, we really only have 2 planes to start with. We're supposed to have 3. I'm guessing the third one is supposed to come later for those of us that pre-ordered. But this is the Piper Cub that we're going to be flying. This is November 9er1144, and we can see that it looks pretty sharp. The only thing that I kind of wish that this thing had was a way to rotate around the aircraft, but who knows? DoveTail's just starting out when it comes to this, so I'm sure they might add that at a later time, or they might even put it in the full flight sim. But there we go. That is our bird. That is our chariot for the day. And we do need a flight plan, so I want to show this to you because I think this is probably one of the most ingenious things that I hope they keep. This is the flight planner page. If you look around, you'll see this is basically the Pittsburgh area. We're just going to do a flight around my hometown. Your flight plan is listed on the left-hand side, and I'm going to start pointing at the various waypoints. Basically, you drag and drop, you know, as far as your flight path goes. So we're starting in Allegheny. I've got a waypoint close to downtown, and then we're going to turn towards Pittsburgh International Airport. We're probably going to do a touch and go there. Then we're going to go southeast to Finleyville, which is another small airport in the area, and we're going to do a touch and go there. We'll do another touch and go at Ross Traver, and then we'll head back to Allegheny. It is so easy to make a flight plan in this thing. This is the best idea that DoveTail has come up with. So, with that having been said, let's go ahead and get into our Piper Cub. We'll fire this thing up, and I will show you around my home area. Okay, so we are in the default Piper Cub that comes with Flight School. And you've seen my flight plan, so we're basically going to be going first to Pittsburgh International Airport, and then we're going to be heading southeast towards Finleyville, which is a small airstrip in the countryside. And then we're going to be heading to Ross Traver, which is one of the airstrips that I've been to in my real-life flight lessons. And that's directly south of this airport here, which is, of course, Allegheny County Airport, which is where I used to take my flight lessons in real life. Alright, so as you can see, when we start up, the game is paused. Now, I did take the liberty of moving myself from where it normally puts you, which is on the runway, to an actual parking spot, because we're going to try and do this right here. So, let's go ahead and take it off of pause. You can see at the very bottom of the screen, by the way, it's got our flight plan information. So, 53 nautical miles, heading 337, speed of 113 knots, and flight time of about 29 minutes. So, that should be how long this video is, roughly. Alright, so let's go ahead and unpause it. Okay, we are in the Piper. It's not A2A, but you know what? It looks pretty damn good. I'll give DoveTail that. You done did good. Okay, so let's get in the cockpit here. Now, one of the beautiful things about this, since this is a natural progression of FSX, so to speak, all of my Cytec X52 controls work. I really didn't have to do anything except remove some of the default key bindings that were on there. For example, scroll lock, which I use to actually start DX Story recording my videos, also will bring up the ATC menu. Obviously, I don't want that to happen, so I left the default key binding for ATC menu, which is the tilde key, and I got rid of the secondary binding, which is the oh wow, that's dramatic. All I'm doing is moving the ATC window on the screen there. So yeah, I got rid of the secondary binding, which of course was the scroll lock key. Damn, that is weird. Wow. I've never seen that before. Wow, okay. Okay, so here we are at Allegheny, my home airport. Alright, so let's go ahead and tune Allegheny ground. This is Noob Pilot 101, taking off. Okay, where are we going? We are going to the west, so let's depart to the west VFR. Allegheny ground, Piper November, Niner 1144 with Echo. Request taxi for takeoff, departure to the west.
Piper November 1144, taxi to and hold short time, runway 10, yield taxi on Alpha. Contact tower on 121.1 when ready.
Wow. Okay, I don't know if you can hear that because that's automatically coming through my headphones. It is not being recorded, I don't think, because I don't have that set up to record. But before I go ahead and acknowledge taxi clearance, let me change that so you can actually hear the ATC voice. This is something that I think they can definitely work on for the full flight sim. Not so sure about this voice that they've got here. Alright, so let's see. We'll go here. Voice, there it is, voice audio device. Alright, this is how easy you can change stuff in this game here. So we're going to put that to speakers. There we go, so that way you all will be able to hear this. I've got the music turned down, there's really no need for it. Everything else is on half. And let me see if there's anything I need to change in my video settings. Scenery is user defined. What does that mean? Oh, okay, whatever. Labels are off. Multi-monitor cockpit. We're only using one monitor since we're recording. And we are not running full screen. And that tells you all of my stuff. Yes, I know I've got an older graphics card. I need to upgrade, like seriously, hopefully before the full flight sim comes out. Alright, so let's go ahead and get out of here. That'll put us back in the plane, and of course, it will pause us. It's pretty convenient. Okay, so I believe we left off with acknowledging the lady in the ATC that you couldn't hear. So let's go ahead and do that. Acknowledge taxi clearance. Taxiing, hold short of runway 10 using taxiway Alpha, Piper 144. Okay, now the familiar turn on progressive taxi is back. So we'll press 3 to do that. And let's see where it wants us to go. Oh, that's neat. Yeah, they use the same arrows, but they're a little bit darker this time around. Okay, now I happen to know in Allegheny, well, let's just say there's not a whole hell of a lot of activity going on any given day. So we can probably loop around, go to that taxiway to the left, and then go all the way down to the end, past the crosswind runway. So let's do that, shall we? Alright, let's get rid of the brakes. Run up. We should have full tanks for this. I believe by default it does give you full gas tanks. So that should be fine. Let's make sure I'm not going to hit that Piper over there. Okay, looking good. Now the acceleration on this Cub is a little bit fast on the ground. But I'm not going to critique it too much because the target audience is not me. I'm sure for someone just coming into the flight simulation, or even flight in general, they probably won't be the wiser as to what the normal throttle settings should be on the Cub and everything. But being as this is a tail dragger, I'm going to go ahead and kind of move over. We'll waggle down the runway here. Alright, so we should be at runway 10 shortly. We just got to cross the crosswind runway here. And this is actually a pretty decent representation of my home airport. The only thing that's missing is there's a huge shopping mall over by where those houses are to the left. This airport sits a little bit on top of a hill. There's a trucking school to the right. You see where those fir trees and where that little house is? There's a trucking school down the hill just to the right there. And off to the left side there's a pretty huge shopping mall. I think it's called Century 3 Mall or something like that. I've never actually been in that mall. But yeah, a lot of the airports in Western PA like this will be usually on top of little plateaus. Like they either cut down the hill and made it flat to make it into an airport, or they built up the area so that it would be like an elevated airport. And Allegheny County is definitely no different when it comes to that. And I see the familiar Orbix shading on that radar there. Pretty neat, pretty neat. Okay, so this is runway 10. I did not notice if there is a real-world weather setting in this, but then again, like I said, since I'm not really the target audience, I don't think the average newcomer to flight simulation is really going to care whether or not there's real-world weather or not. I know I found it pretty exciting that it could actually download weather when I first started flying flight simulators that had that capability, but I'm not sure that the average person is really going to care about that. Unless, of course, you're a huge aviation geek like me, in which case, yeah, you probably will. But be that as it may, I did not see that as an option. Okay, so we are at the edge of the runway. I need to fix my view because there is no easy dock for this, and of course, I do not have track IR. So let me see if I can set this up. Another shortcut that I've been using in a lot of my regular FSX episodes is Shift-O. You see the little crosshairs comes up there? That will allow you to move your camera with the mouse. So yeah, that's how I've been doing a lot of my views prior to getting Easy Dock. Of course, there is no modification to this. I don't plan on doing any modification. But I'm going to set this up here. We'll take off the mouse view, call a tower. Okay, tune Allegheny Tower, and request takeoff clearance VFR. Allegheny Tower, Piper November 1144, request ready for west departure, runway 10. Takes them a
Piper
while.
November 91144, cleared for takeoff, runway 10, departure to the west approved.
Really not sure how I feel about that ATC voice there, DoveTail. Really not sure how I feel about that. Especially someone like myself where my voice is pretty much a good portion of my life. Yeah. I'd offer to do voiceover
Piper
for you, but whatever.
144, did you hear my last transmission?
Oh, I'm so sorry, ma'am. I'm so sorry. Let me acknowledge you. Cleared for takeoff, runway 10, Piper 144. Okay. Alright. Once again, the textures look really good. And I think that's an important thing for newcomers to Flight Simulator, any flight simulator, is it's got to look, it's got to make you feel like you're actually doing this. I mean, yeah, it's a flight sim. It's not real life. You know, you're not actually going to get a private pilot's license at the end of this flight. But it still has to suck you in. It has to immerse you in the actual game, shall I say. And I think DoveTail has definitely accomplished that with the help of Orbix. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a little bit of run up here. Trying to get the gauges in the green. Okay, looking good. Bring it back down. And let's go. Now, since it's a Piper Cub, we'll probably lift off around 40 miles per hour, thereabouts. There we go. The nose is coming up, or the tail is coming up now, so we'll go ahead and pull up. Alright. Steady on the rudder. Take it down the runway heading. By the books, baby. By the books. And yep, this is pretty much what that neighborhood looks like. I mean, obviously the houses look a little bit better, but not much better. I'm not going to lie to you, folks. Western PA, yeah, pretty much the houses do look like that. Not even going to lie to you. There's so many cookie cutter looking houses in this area that it's just not even funny. Alright, so we need to head to Pittsburgh International Airport. So while I'm heading out on runway heading towards the Monongahela River, we're going to bring up our handy dandy GPS! Woo! Okay, and let's try not to get crazy here while we're at it. Alright, we are at 2,000. That seems good enough, so let's go ahead and straighten out and give it some engine throttle here. Okay, so to go to our waypoint, we need to turn around to, what is it? Course to steer, 305. Alright, so let's do a slow right-hand turn here. I thought I actually set that to KPIT. I don't know why it says waypoint 1, but we'll do it anyway. Alright, so we're a little over 2,000. Our speed is about 100 miles per hour. Well, a little faster than that, about 104. And we're going to turn around. Of course, real-world pilots starting out probably will not be using the GPS. But, with that having been said, we are going to go ahead and do that anyway. Oh, now I remember why my waypoint says waypoint number 1. We're going to downtown Pittsburgh. Alright, so let's do this here. We've got a little trapezoid flight plan. Okay, so I need to be going 310. My little airplane is pointing at 300. So a little bit more to the right. Pretty much we're going to follow that crosswind runway a little bit here. Oh, that's a beautiful thing. Look at that. That is what my home airport looks like, and that is what downtown Pittsburgh looks like. So, yes, DoveTail, thank you. You done did good. And I guess I should probably thank Orbix by proxy, too. Alright, so we are at roughly about 108 miles per hour. And since I now know that my waypoint is downtown Pittsburgh, over by the three rivers where they meet, I will go ahead and close this GPS for now. And we'll just point ourselves to downtown. I know this area like the back of my hand since I've flown it in real life, and of course I live here. So yes, this should be relatively easy. Now the real test for me is going to be if they have all the correct buildings downtown, which honestly I don't think any flight simulator has been able to pull that off as of yet. But we might let DoveTail slide on this one because, you know, they are based in England. It's not like they really know what all the buildings are here in PA. The Cathedral of Learning is off to the right. That is a university building. That is exactly why it's called the Cathedral of Learning. So you see that one lone skyscraper over there? That'll be that. It doesn't look exactly like that. It is a very distinctive structure, but like I said, we'll let DoveTail slide on this one. We're at 2,500, so I'm going to try and keep it around here. I don't know if I have my trimmers mapped to the joystick. I believe they do, but let me check and see if it works here. We got some downward trim. Yeah, I might have that rebound for FSX. I don't know if I changed the default setting. So it doesn't look like it's trimming, so I'll have to give a little bit of forward stick here to keep us around 2,500, which is usually the pattern altitude in this neck of the woods. Alright, so we are approaching downtown. You can see the Monongahela River on the right. Matter of fact, let's take a quick look outside. There we go. Seem to be drifting a bit here. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. The rudder was centered. Alright, so there we have downtown Pittsburgh. And they did model a fair number of the buildings. I see the Highmark building, which is the white one with blue. Oh, really? Okay. Thank you, lady. I was talking to the people. You're interrupting me, but okay, thank you. Alright, so yeah, we got the BNY Mellon building. We've got the Highmark building. And I do believe that I see the UPMC building there. And I imagine that funky looking building that looks like it's made out of four buildings, four square towers. That will most likely be the PPG Tower. PPG, of course, is the maker of glass windshields and so on, so you are probably very familiar with their work. But yeah, not too shabby. They did a pretty decent job on downtown. It's obviously missing some other notable buildings, but that's okay. We'll let that slide. Of course, it's missing one crucial ingredient that makes this place Pittsburgh, and that is all the stadiums. It's missing PNC Park and Heinz Field, where the Pirates and the Steelers play, respectively. But again, we can let that slide because they got enough of our bridges, so this is a good thing. Alright, I'm way off course, but I'm still heading in the right direction. I know that waypoint is right where the three rivers meet. So we got the Fort Pitt Bridge there. There's West End Bridge on the other side where the river becomes the Ohio River. And let's take a quick look at all this stuff here. That is not bad. I'm quite impressed, DoveTail. That is not bad. That's pretty decent. Huh. There's Mount Washington over there. Yeah, there are some buildings that look like that, so good job. Good job. Alright. Well, so far you've managed to impress me on this one. This is good. Okay, so we are at our waypoint. Let's pop open ye old GPS. Says we need to be tracking heading 300 roughly. That will take us to Pittsburgh International Airport, which I consider my other home airport. I think what we'll do is a touch and go here. Alright, so the airport should be around this way. This is, of course, the major international airport in this area. They call it international because there's occasionally flights that come in and go to Canada, which is about 4 hours north of here. And look at that. I can already see the lights. Very nice. Maybe we should contact them. Now, considering we took off from runway 10, all of Pittsburgh's runways are parallel as well. So we've got a runway 10 left, center, and right there. And you can probably see the lights for all of that. So let's do this. Pull up the radio. We'll talk to the robotic people again. Nearest airport list. KPIT, which is number 3. Pittsburgh Tower. And we want clearance for a touch and go. Pittsburgh Tower, Piper, November 9er 1144 is 9 miles east with Yankee, touch and go.
November 91144, Pittsburgh Tower, make straight in, runway 32, altimeter 2992.
Okay, well that actually is a little unusual. Usually they don't use that crosswind runway. That's okay. That is not necessarily a critique. Like I said, DoveTail is based in England, so I really don't expect them to know this about my airport. But let's acknowledge them. Fly straight in, runway 32, Piper 144. So what I'll do is I'll do a little bit of a touch and go. In my case, it'll be more like a bounce. This is one of the reasons why I am going back to virtual flight school here. I need to learn how to fly these aircraft properly. But we are just about lined up. As long as we stay to the south of the airport and turn at the last second to the right, I should be able to hit that catty corner runway. Might actually be able to see my house from here too. That would be awesome. It would be somewhere off to the left near this highway. I would say... Okay, there's the golf course. That is in the right spot. So right down the hill from the golf course, there's that little neighborhood down there. That would be where my house is. So now you all know where I'm at. Don't come over here swatting me. I don't appreciate that. Alright, so let's set that back to center. Okay, so there is good old KPIT. Man, if I told you how many times I've been to that airport, whew, probably wouldn't believe me. That is quite literally one of my favorite airports in the world. That having been said, never really been out of the United States. Alright, so our runway is the one that the VASI lights just turned to white and red. So that's the one that we're going to want. And you can see the other two. That'll be what?
Touch and go. L traffic runway 32. Follow the Piper Archer on final.
There's a Piper Archer on final? Really? Okay, well we're clear touch and go. Alright, I'm going to slow down a little bit here and I'll respond to this lady. Clear touch and go. Runway 32, Piper 144. Okay, you can clearly see our runway, and you can also see that we're a little high up, so we really need to start coming down here. And I don't see a Piper Archer. Do you all see a Piper Archer? Do you? I don't see this thing. going to assume this guy is coming in, but I really don't see him. Now, one thing I would really like to know, which one of you at DoveTail and or Orbix has the obsession with pine trees? There are really not that many pine trees here in Pittsburgh. We've got every other kind of tree, but there's not that many pine trees. There's people that have Christmas tree farms as, you know, part of their house if they've got several acres. But that's pretty much the extent of the pine trees. There's really not that many here. Alright. Let's go ahead and come in here. Try to make this quick. I expect this video will be a little bit longer since we are flying a Piper Cub and not a Tomcat, so I can't get there in like 5 minutes. I'm going to slow down, however. This thing does have flaps, but considering the fact that we're just doing a touch and go, or in my case, a bounce, I'm not really going to worry about putting the flaps out. I'm just going to try and get slow enough so that we can come down. Now, one thing you'll notice about KPIT there, you'll see that it is on that hill, and I've already explained that most of the airports around here, they put them on hills. Pittsburgh International is no different. This is pretty much what it looks like. The only thing that is different in real life, there is an Air Force base on either side of this runway. So to the left, immediately ahead of me, is where the 171st Air Refueling Wing is, and to the right is where the 911th Airlift Wing is. So we've got tankers and we've got C-130s on a regular basis. There used to be air shows here every year, usually around 9/11, but for some strange reason they stopped doing that, and I've been really disappointed.
Go around.
What do you mean go around? What? I'm doing a touch and go. Look, lady, don't try me. I don't see any airplanes up ahead. What are you talking about? Ugh, alright. Going around, Piper 144. I still think you're on crack, lady. Okay, well, that was an aborted approach. Okay, I'm going to go runway heading here and turn back around because this is, after all, a Piper Cub, so it's not like I'm going to get too far too fast. I don't see another aircraft. Unless they're coming in on one of the other runways. But considering the fact that traffic is very light, because this is not the full flight simulator, there are not a whole bunch of A320s coming in. Yeah, about that. Okay, well, let's go over the 911th Airlift Wing here. Yeah, it's definitely missing a few buildings, but that's alright. Again, I really don't expect DoveTail to know what's completely
Piper
at this airport.
73 Tango. Turn next taxiway.
Really? So you're telling the ghost plane to turn the next taxiway? Okay. Alright, well, while you're doing that, I'm going to try and see if I can line up on my approach here, because we are trying to do this by the books. This is the whole point of flight school, is learn how to do this stuff right. Alright, so I'm going to go downwind here. Turn around, we'll come back. And hopefully the ghost airplane should have gone. So there's another view of downtown, and I will say, as far as atmospherics go,
Tango. Turn next taxiway.
he still hasn't turned yet? Oh, you need to tell him to get on the ball there, lady. Anyway, as I was saying, yes, that's pretty much what downtown looks like from Pittsburgh International Airport.
144. Clear. Touch and go. L traffic runway 32. Follow the Piper Archer on the runway.
I will follow the Piper Archer on the runway, but he better get the heck out of my way. Clear, touch and go, runway 32, Piper 144. I gotta watch my speed here.
Piper 73 Tango. Turn next taxiway.
Lady, I don't think he's turning.
73 Tango. Contact ground on 121.9.
Oh, I stand corrected. Okay.
121.94 Piper 73 Tango.
Oh, my bad. It was a she. Okay, so this is a touch and go, and I turned way too soon. So we've got an extremely steep rate of descent here. I'm going to go ahead and drop the power. Not too much. about 1,000 feet per minute. This is a touch and go, so basically all I have to do is just bounce. As you can see, I'm way too high. I really should go around on this one. But I don't plan on spending a full 30 minutes here in Pittsburgh International Airport just to show you what this thing looks like. But looking at this, though, I will say, gives me a lot of hope for the full flight sim that we're supposed to be getting later. If this is what the default looks like, oh, I can only imagine what it's going to look like when we get all of the real goodies in there. Because you know that's what everybody's waiting for, is adding all their extra stuff in there. Oh, there was the Piper. Alright, let me drop our throttle to 0. There's our bounce. Okay, touch and go done. I'm done. Alright. Did that count as a touch? I hope that did. I'm not going around again. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think I put my tail wheel on the ground. So yeah, she's probably going to complain about that. I noticed there's a helipad there. That gives me hope that helicopters will be coming. I don't know if they would have helicopters here in the actual flight school game. It would be nice, because as a helicopter aficionado, yeah, I would be all over that. I'm not even going to lie, DoveTail. I'll pay for a DLC on that one. Teach me how to fly helicopters the right way. Okay, let's go back downwind. Clearly that does not count as a touch and go, so we're going to do it again. And I'm spending a whole 30 minutes here in Pittsburgh International Airport. Don't worry, folks. I'm going to cut this video up into sections here. So what I'll do is I'll land and I'll take off, and then I'll probably break for a little while. So we'll have a part 2 to this, where I will continue to wax poetically about the good and the bad with DoveTail's flight school. So far, I have to say, looking through the eyes of a hardcore flight simmer, a guy who's been doing this for like many years, who's had some actual flight hours in this neck of the woods, yeah, I would say they did right. Is there a lot of room for improvement? Yes. Having been said, not in this particular game. The way that this is set up, this is strictly for training and getting people interested in flight simulation. So I do not expect them to do anything to this to actually make it more appealing to those of us who've been flight simming for ages. It's not aimed at us. I'm sure you've heard that term put around many a time over the last few weeks. It's absolutely true. It is not geared towards us. What we can gain from this as avid flight simmers is a sneak peek, if you will, at what is essentially for us a tech demo. For those of us who've always wondered what FSX would be like as a 64-bit program, this is it. You're looking at it. I'm getting rock solid frames per second here. Every now and then it kind of creeps down, usually with all of these pine trees. But other than that, yeah, we're looking good. We are looking good. Less yakking, more landing. But yeah, there is definitely some room for improvement, but I think that DoveTail has really hit the ground running, as it were. Or I guess that would be hit the runway running. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that their objective will be achieved. They will be able to interest new people in this. It's really easy to do. Of course, bear in mind, I've been doing this for many a year. So me saying that is kind of akin to any of us on YouTube that do flight simulators saying, hey, yeah, this stuff is really easy, but, you know, we've been doing this for 5 million years, almost. Okay, am I good now, lady? Okay, well, that went away. I'm going to use that to take off. Okay, 43 minutes. Alright, so let's get out of here. Okay, so that is the end of this leg. Our next leg is going to take us down south, as they say up here, down south to Findlayville, which is a really small airport. So what I'll be doing is waiting for that little thing to pop up that says I can cancel my landing clearance. And we will bid adieu to Pittsburgh International Airport for the time being. And we'll say goodbye to the British computer lady. One of the things that you will notice about this airport, it is X-shaped. That is one of the very distinctive things about Pittsburgh International Airport. Alright, cancel landing intentions. Pittsburgh Tower, Piper 144, cancel landing intention.
Piper 144. Your cancellation is received.
This is nice. Thank you. Alright, well, we're out. Aw, that is so cool. I'm going to take a picture of that. That might be our screenshot there. Okay, so I am going to cut it here. And in our next episode, we will pick up with the next leg, and we'll continue talking a little bit about DoveTail's new flight school. So thank you as always for watching. This is BelGeode, and I'll be right back.